You have a vision, clear, vivid, real, and yet you don't move. Not because you don't care, but because something keeps pulling you back into stillness. And quietly, slowly, you've begun to wonder if you're just fundamentally broken. You're not. But what's happening inside your mind is far more fascinating than the word lazy could ever explain. Here's what your days actually look like. You wake up with intention, the goal is written, the plan exists, and somewhere between the morning and the evening, nothing happened. Not because you were resting, because you were almost starting, almost opening the file, almost beginning, almost. You live in the space just before action, and that space has a name in psychology: activation energy. Borrowed from chemistry, applied to human behavior, it describes the mental cost the brain calculates before any action begins, not consciously, not logically, automatically. And if that perceived cost crosses an internal threshold, the system shuts down. Not from laziness, from protection. Now here's where it gets specific, to you. Research on personality types high in both openness and conscientiousness, traits common in people who describe themselves as simultaneously driven and paralyzed, reveals a distinct pattern. The bigger your vision, the higher the brain's perceived cost of beginning it. You're not avoiding work because you don't want it. You're avoiding it because you want it too much to risk starting badly. You are not someone with low motivation. You are someone with mismatched motivation architecture. Psychologist Gabriele Oettingen found that people who vividly imagine positive futures without planning for obstacles feel less motivated to act, not more. The brain experiences the vision as partial reality. The reward fires early. The effort never comes. So you've been dreaming in high definition while your nervous system quietly believed the work was already done. This isn't weakness. This is your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. You were never broken. You were running the wrong software for the hardware you have. Inside your brain, two systems are always competing. Cognitive science calls them System 1 and System 2. System 1 is fast, automatic, effortless. It runs your habits, your comfort loops, your defaults. System 2 is slow, deliberate, expensive. It runs your ambitions. System 1 always wins when System 2 is tired, and System 2 is always tired when the task feels large. This is why you can scroll for an hour without resistance, but struggle to write for 10 minutes. Scrolling is System 1, creating is System 2. And every day, ambitious people drain System 2, not through working, but through thinking about working. Rumination costs the same energy as action, but produces none of the results. You're not lazy, you're leaking energy into the mental simulation of your own life. So how do you shift this? Not with motivation, not with discipline speeches, with structure that bypasses the cost calculation before it happens. Principle 1. Shrink the mouth of the task. The brain retreats from tasks with no visible edge. Work on the project has no boundary. The brain scans it, finds no end, and closes. Instead, name the smallest possible entry. Not write the chapter, write one paragraph. Psychologist Peter Gollwitzer called this implementation intention, and across over 200 studies, it dramatically increases follow-through. When the brain sees a defined beginning and end, the activation cost drops. The door becomes small enough to walk through. Principle 2. Redesign your environment, not your willpower. Behavioral researcher B.J. Fogg spent decades studying why people failed to change despite strong desire. His conclusion: environment shapes behavior more reliably than intention. Remove friction from what you want to do. Add friction to what pulls you away. Phone in another room. Document already open. Workspace that signals one thing only. You're not fighting yourself. You're building a channel that makes the right behavior the path of least resistance. Principle 3. Close the vision during the work. Your ambition needs to dream. Your work needs to be blind. When you sit down to create, the full vision becomes a burden. The brain sees the mountain, calculates the total cost of climbing it, all at once, and freezes. So close the vision. You are not here to build the empire today. You are here to finish one small thing. Vision is for planning. The session is for doing. These are different mental states. Treat them as different rooms. Principle 4. Reward the beginning. Dopamine is released in anticipation of reward, not upon receiving it. This means you can train your brain to associate the act of beginning with a sense of value. A small ritual before you begin, a quiet acknowledgement when you sit down, something that signals this moment is worth something. Over time, the brain stops waiting to feel ready. It starts generating motivation at the moment of beginning, because beginning itself has become the reward. Here is the one mental model that holds all of this together. You are not lazy. You are high cost, high reward. Your brain requires more activation energy because your standards are higher, your vision is larger, and your nervous system is more sensitive to the distance between who you are and who you know you could be. That sensitivity is not a flaw. It is the same quality that makes you ambitious in the first place. The goal is not to eliminate the cost. The goal is to stop trying to pay it all at once. Smaller entry points, redesigned environments, vision separated from execution, starts that feel like rewards. This is not a collection of hacks. This is the natural language of a high-cost, high-reward mind. You've spent a long time calling yourself lazy, wondering why the gap between who you are and who you could be feels so permanent. But that gap exists because your vision is real, and real visions are heavy. The mind that can imagine something vast is often the same mind that freezes before it. That is not contradiction. That is just how ambitious minds are built. You don't need more motivation. You need a smaller door into a larger life. Open it once, just once today. That is enough.